listen to that on the spot diva. From east to the west coast, her grind's off the meter. That blog talk Shira. Products, log on and tune in, cause the lines might be tied up. I love it, boy, you already know. You're listening to the only Diva Spot Radio.
What's going on, kings and queens? It's your girl, Diva Ebony B, a.k.a. Queen 1000, b.k.a. Miss Motivation. You are now tuned in live to Diva Spot Radio, and it is Wellness Wednesday. Now, I know y'all getting ready for tomorrow's Thanksgiving. You got the turkey in the oven. Collard greens is going on. It's some yams up in there, and I think I smell a little bit of macaroni and cheese. But while you cooking and while you doing your thing, I'm going to have my special guest, Angie B, life coach, is going to be here today, and we're going to be talking about Wellness Wednesdays. I'm super excited, as you guys can see, to talk about this topic and to have this professional on to talk about wellness and mental health. It's a really big deal. So go ahead, if you're tuning in live on Facebook, make sure you go ahead and share. If you're tuning in live on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe right now. Look at me, like and subscribe. If you're tuning in to Twitter, make sure you share, and can't forget about Periscope and all my divas and kings that's on Diva Spot Radio page. I love you so much. Guys, I want to welcome to Diva Spot Radio, Angie B, life coach, coaching with a purpose. Angie, welcome to Diva Spot, girl.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I am super excited that you are here. I've had the pleasure of meeting you through a mutual friend, Karen Dollywall. So big shout out to Karen Dollywall, aka Karen G, also known as Mrs. Duman, and owner of Word of Mouth Promotions and Advertisements. So I'm grateful to have met you. Everybody that's tuning in, and also all you guys that's tuning in on the pages, you can also comment and you can ask a question, and I'll post it right here on the screen for Angie to answer or for me to answer. So Angie, for those who don't know who you are and what you do, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell them exactly who you are and what you do?
All right. My name is Angie. I am the founder and CEO of Coaching with Purpose. I work with individuals who want to work through traumas, and often when they come to me, there are multi-layers of things people are working through. You know, you think you're coming to get coaching because you want to move into the next phase of your career, but you've got blocks that are stemming from past relationships, traumas, maybe there was a death in the family, things like that. So, and we also incorporate somatic movements. So I work with the whole individual. So I also do men's emotional wellness, and all of it is really around trauma awareness and helping individuals move through things that they're going through that they may not necessarily have another outlet for. And so that's the purpose of the coaching that I do.
I am excited that you are giving of your talents, gifts, and skills, and being in the industry of trauma. We all have had some trauma. We all have received some type of trauma, willingly and unwillingly, and especially with the pandemic that has happened. That we all been going through almost 3 years now. And big shout out, I want to go ahead and spotlight Miss Virtue Dickey. She says, "Good evening, beautiful queens and friends." Virtue, thank you for being here, queen. That's my queen. I'm so excited that you're here. If you got questions, make sure that you're asking. But talking about mental health and, you know, talking about life wellness, it helps improve our community and making it more acceptable for those suffering from mental health illness to seek help. I don't think that's something that, well, now it is a little bit more accessible, but it wasn't years ago, and especially now for people of color. So that is my first question, is what made you decide to get into life coaching and start working with people who have suffered from trauma and in different places in their lives?
I've been in the helping profession for a long time. I got a bachelor's degree that I've had for some time. So I come from a social work background where I'm helping people deal with various life transitions, life shifts, different places in their life where sometimes you just need help. Sometimes you're overwhelmed. You are, not knowing what direction to go. And sometimes you need somebody to help you. And so I was just seeing that, and I was seeing that, and also dealing with my own trauma and my own background and things I was coming from too. There were a lot of people focused on mindset, but there weren't a lot of people that were focusing on what's going on in the body, which is also something else that goes back to what my experiences were personally, because we do a lot of things to get over trauma. Or what do? We deal with it, right? We work through it. We pile more things onto our plate. We
Yep.
we go, we isolate ourselves. Maybe we don't isolate ourselves. Maybe we take care of everybody else, but we don't address what's going on with us. And so that's all of those experiences and life experiences. And to be completely honest, in the midst of the divorce that I'm going through, and all of the feelings and shadow work and different aspects of dealing with that came up, was really what made me want to get into it, and tapping into different parts of the shadow work aspect of it.
I love it. How was the experience and how was it going through training to get certified and having your degree? How was that experience for you getting into this field, going and getting educated, getting this training? How was that for you getting your degree in this field and your certifications?
That's a great question. Getting the bachelor's degree was fine. That process came with its own challenges and triumphs. Getting the life coaching certification, let me tell you, you anybody who's looking into getting into that profession, if you are truly, truly doing it and you're truly paying attention, you are going to run up into your own triggers. You're going to run up into a whole lot of things that are going to come up for you, even in learning how to be a coach and learning,
Mm.
even the science part of it and the biology part of it and how your brain works, and all of when you're learning all of the things. So that's what it was. It was very enlightening, very very healing, but also very triggering. But I'm glad that it came up. And you want those things to come up, especially if you're going to be coaching other people through how to go through those transitions and dealing with what comes up for you, because that's a big part of it, right? You're learning how to be a life coach, and yet here your father wounds come up, or your mother wounds come up, or your breakup comes up, or you got molested at a young age or in college, and all of those things will definitely come up for you when you are learning to be a life coach. So that experience was very eye-opening, very educational. I am in love with the whole process though, and I like learning things, and I like helping people. So it was mostly it was enjoyable, partially
Mm.
educational. I'll say that.
Well, it sounds like you learned a lot of things about yourself, a lot of things about and it's great for you to go through life coaching, having a heart to want to help others heal, having to help the heart to want to give people and others tools to use so they can heal, but learning more about you and learning the tools that's working for you. Because I'm honestly say if you don't try the product or if you don't try the service, you're not going to be able to help somebody else with it. Like, I'm a big firm believer of it. I wouldn't refer something to you that I haven't tried myself and make sure that it works and you're getting results. So I am super excited about that. Now that you have the certifications, now that you already had your education, now's the next step to, now you go to your next step and you're getting clients and you're working with people, and you do work with everyone and you work with the whole body of life coaching. Say I'm someone that says, you know what, I think I need a life coach. What would be some of the signs or the telltale signs that would tell me, yeah, Ebony, you may want to seek a life coach on this situation?
Another great question. I would say the sign of you needing a life coach is, what do you need help with? What work have you done, and what work are you willing to do?
There it is. What
Right?
are
Because
you
a
willing
lot
to
of
do?
people, exactly, what are you willing to do? Because even if you go to a therapist or a counselor or someone else, They can give you the tools, they can even give you the assignments or the modalities, but you're the one who has to go home in between sessions and do that work.
Mm.
So what work are you willing to do? And what kind of work are you needing to do? What's coming up for you? So those are going to be your telltale signs and how you look for a life coach.
Oh, I love it, Angie B. It's your girl, Diva Ebony B. You're now tuned in live to Diva Spot Radio. It's Wellness Wednesday, and we are talking about mental health and life coach. I just want to make sure I'm shouting out everybody that's on the check-in. Hey, Zanaya. Zanaya is on for you. Chicago is in the building. My auntie Annette is here. Big shout out to Indigo Blue Productions, all the way from New Jersey that's tuned in. And if you guys haven't shared, go ahead and share this live right now, because this is an important topic that we are talking about. Sharing is caring, but somebody is going to receive something out of this. And we're going to talk more about how you can book with Angie B, the life coach, and how you can get yourself on track. And I love what you said about, I said, what are the telltale signs that I would need a life coach? Well, yeah. What do you need to work on, and what are you willing to work on? What are you willing to stick with, and what are you willing to be honest about?
Exactly.
And I love what Vicky said. You have to Sister Nikki said, we have to do the work. If you are not willing to admit what's going on, or admit what's dragging you down, or admit what's holding you back, or admit something that you are not comfortable with doing, you're not going to be able to move forward, and you may be stuck in that place. So my next question is, say I'm stuck, Angie, and I'm like, I've booked the appointment with you, I got the ball rolling, and I come to a place where I'm like, yeah, that I don't want to talk about, or yeah, that I don't want to face, but I really want to do it, and I kind of go ghost on you, or I don't really want to deal with it. What are one or two tools that I can use when I don't want to face the ugly part of my trauma?
There's a couple different things you can do. You can sit with those feelings, which is part of the work, right? Sit with the feeling of not wanting to work with it, and ask yourself why you don't want to work with it, or why you're not ready to work with it. And the thing is, you don't have to be ready to work with it. But if it's coming up for you, that is your number one telltale sign that is what you need to be working on. It's the things that come up for you.
Oh, I love that. The things that come up for you. And I love the comment that Annette just put on there. Annette Ramsey said, my mental health is very important to me. I am an older woman, and I have health issues where I need to take injections once a week. It took me a while to accept that. That acceptance is something else. And I think when you go through trauma, or when things change in your life, and you feel like you're losing a little, for me, you kind of feel like you're losing a little bit of your independence, but it's hard for you to accept that part. But accepting it is more like, I would say what I'm hearing is accepting it is like I'm working through it. I'm not accepting that I'm defeated. I'm working through it. When I'm being honest about what's going on, because for a long time I was known as a blackout artist in my family, where I had anger issues, and I just wanted to fight everybody. And I love, me and you had a conversation. You had came over for a glam session with me to, with Mary Kay, and to do your eyes and your face, and we got you snatched. But when we were talking, I had expressed something to you, like I didn't feel safe at the time, or there was something going, control issues. And I was talking about my control issues, and you asked me a question. You said, well, where do you feel that? I've never had anyone ask me, when I was angry, or if I said something, where do you feel that in your body? And I told you, well, I feel it in my stomach, and I feel it in my throat and my chest. And then you asked me, how old is that person? And it was an incredible thing, because we just came from one thing, and you were helped me to identify that I was feeling my control issues came from when I was maybe in the ages between 12, 11 to 15, when my mom got sick. Unfortunately, she had a stroke and she got sick, And when I seen her came home in a wheelchair and all she can do is smile, instantly I did not feel safe anymore because she was my safe
Exactly.
place. She was like the big dog, the warrior woman. And I was like, oh man, my OG, I don't feel safe anymore. So I love the fact that you go through those exercises and you purposely ask me, what do you feel in the body? How old is that person? Because a lot of things stem through our childhood. And that's the next question I want to talk about is childhood trauma. Um,
Right.
how do how do how do we how do you describe childhood trauma and how do we identify?
So the first thing I want to make sure that I share is that what one person considers a traumatic experience is not going to be something another person considers a traumatic experience. It could be the same event, but two people will
Mm,
experience it differently, and it may be traumatic for one, but not the other. Another thing is that trauma is what happens to you, it's not who you are.
mm,
And when we are having trauma, when we are our childhood, things happen in our childhood at different ages. And the reason why I had asked you that is because it really all goes back to root causes and core wounds, right? So when you feel a certain thing, like when we were talking about your control issues, your body, and this goes back to my coaching philosophy as well. A lot of people, or most, with respect to the profession, most modalities focus on mindset and focusing on changing your mindset and manifesting and all of the things. And those are wonderful. But when we are healing, it's important to understand that all parts of us are welcome. What that
mm,
means is that the part that comes up that's scared, the part that comes up that you are ashamed of, embarrassed about, you don't like feeling vulnerable, you hate this part of yourself,
mm,
introduce that part, sit with that for a minute. Don't suppress that and don't knock it down. It's here for a reason. All of our emotions, whether we want to call them positive or negative, they're here for a reason.
mhm,
They want to be heard. And all of that, going back to the childhood trauma, is when you had that trauma when we were talking and you're 9 and 13 and 12, or even me with mine and I'm 5, your body, your mind, your fight or flight response, which is what childhood trauma is, right? It's the whole goal is to keep you safe.
mm,
So when you have control issues at 9, you talk about your mom not being able to protect you. So for you, that was a traumatic experience because you were vulnerable in those moments. You weren't
yeah.
safe anymore. So now I have to be controlling, or I have to be this way, or I have to hide myself. I have to not speak up. I have to accept this treatment from these people, or whatever it is that at that age you were, whatever the action was or the behavior was that 5-year-old or that 9-year-old was, that decided this is what I need to do to protect myself, to be safe.
Mhm.
That's the whole goal. It's to keep you safe. But what happens when we grow up, right? We grow up and we're adults. Well, we're no longer the 9-year-old who needs to be protected anymore.
There
You're
there you
no
go.
longer the 13-year-old who needs to be protected anymore. So what it's important to do is, and as we did in your diva spot downstairs, is remind that inner child part of you, let it come out, but let it know that you're safe now. Those
Mm,
trauma responses that you were having, they're inappropriate now because you're not in that same situation anymore. You may still be
yeah.
having events that happen to you that you consider traumatic as an adult, but you're no longer a child that needs to have those responses that were protecting you at 5, 9, and 13.
I love that. I love that. And I got a question here on my personal page, and this is a really good question. And that Ramsey says, "How can you feel safe as a 53-year-old woman going through the change of life?" I think sometimes, I'm only 39 and we got people that's 20 something and you deal with all ages. But for those who are 53, and she said, how can you feel safe as a 53-year-old woman going through the change of life?
That's a great question. So my first question to you would be, to Annette, would be, what's the first thing that comes up to you that comes up for you that makes you feel unsafe about the change of life? You don't have to answer that for me personally, but that's the thing you want to think about. What is change is scary anyway. But is there something specific, and what is it that is making you feel that way? That is making you feel unsafe? How can you feel safe? Address the reason why you don't feel safe. That's what I would say.
Awesome. I love that. And big shout out to Leah Cooper that's on the check-in, Sharon Davis that's on the check-in. I appreciate you here. And I love what you said. What is it about that that's making you feel unsafe? And asking that question. And I think it's good for us to ask ourselves questions. I know back in the day, I was told, like, people crazy who talk to themselves. Well, no, because I need to ask myself these questions. I'm having an executive conversation. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm having a conversation with myself to ask myself these questions. Not knowing my body anymore. Yes, she said, not knowing my body anymore. That will make you feel, unsafe. It will make you feel unsure. And one thing that I do say about what fear is just an unknown. I don't have enough information about this.
Exactly.
And I sometimes, you feel scared or you feel fearful because you're not in control. So she said, not knowing my body anymore. Okay, that's what's making me feel unsafe, that I don't know my body anymore. Oh, I love that. Because sometimes I haven't been able to eat bread anymore. And I'm like, yo, what's up, body? What's going on? But I take it as my body is telling me that bread ain't good for you no more, baby. We got to do things a different way. And even though I don't want to.
So it's relearning her. You said it. You hit the nail on the head. It's relearning her body and learning to trust her body again. Because that's important too, right? Learning to trust your body again. How do you learn to trust your body again?
That's a good question. Like, my body kind of started doing different things that I wasn't used to. So I kind of lost trust in it. And I lost hope in the situation. So learning to trust your body again. These are some really good questions. Thank you guys.
They are some amazing questions.
Wow.
Yes.
Look, mental health and life coaching, having a life coach is very important and vital for a lot of people. And my next question before we go into a music break, because y'all know I'm about that music and I know y'all cooking and y'all want some music. Diva got you. Don't worry. I told you I'm going to bring it to you. But my next question is, you get having a life coach and your significant other does not agree with you having a life coach. What are some of the barriers besides a significant other that you may face having a life coach?
Other barriers outside of your significant other not agreeing with you having one?
Yeah, because some people say, well, what do you need that? Like, why are you talking to that person about these problems? You should be talking to me. What are some of the barriers that people might run up against with pursuing being consistent with a life coach? What are some of the barriers that you see people kind of face and kind of have them dropping off or not being consistent with you?
Mainly not wanting to do the work, not being ready to do the work, maybe. And actually the number one thing I can say is people not feeling safe. Because before you can get to the work, it doesn't matter what modality you're using. It doesn't matter if somebody's playing sound bows for you or doing Reiki healing or you're in a talk therapy session. It doesn't matter. The number one thing you need to feel with whoever you're working with is safe, and you need to feel like the environment is safe. And that's actually the number one thing that I've seen stop people. And when people disapprove, right? When people disapprove or your spouse disapproves, that can create a level of unsafety because it creates an issue in your relationship. And if you're trying to keep on a path where you don't want to get into it with your partner, or your friends are telling you talk to me instead of them, your friends are not professionals. Right? So there's lots of barriers
in the back.
your friends are not professionals, and actually your partner is not a professional. We can and that's the thing, like, we cannot expect our partners to be all things for us either. That's the reason why you seek out a life coach. And that would be something that's a barrier as well. But really, it's the safety piece that I see, because it's deep work, especially when you start digging into shadow work and you start digging into wounds and you start digging into plate and you start digging into the aspects that you don't like or that you're not ready for. And then you are meeting whatever resistance you're meeting in yourself. It's resistant. That's another thing. It's safety and it's resistance. And then you have to ask yourself, why am I resistant to this?
It's your girl, Diva Ebony B, and now tuned in live to Diva Spot Radio is Wellness Wednesdays. I have my awesome guest, Angie B, here, coaching with a purpose. You guys make sure you share. Make sure you ask your questions, put them in the comment. We're going to get into a music break, and we'll be right back with more Wellness Wednesdays. Let's go.
Feeling great. Feeling good. Feeling great. I wake up every day feeling good. 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 Everything is as it should be. 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 I wake up every day feeling good. 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 Everything is as it should be. 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 I wake up every day happy, healthy, wealthy. Happy, healthy, wealthy. Happy, healthy, wealthy. Happy, happy. I wake up every day happy, healthy, wealthy. Happy, healthy, wealthy. Happy, healthy, wealthy. I wake up every day feeling good. Every day feeling good. Every day feeling good. Every day I'm feeling great, yeah. Every day I'm feeling good. Every day I'm feeling great, yeah. Every day I'm feeling good. Every day I'm feeling great, yeah. I wake up every day feeling good. 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 Everything is as it should be. 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 I wake up every day feeling good. 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 Everything is as it should be. 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 I wake up every day happy, healthy, wealthy. Happy, healthy, wealthy. Happy, healthy, wealthy. Happy, happy. I wake up every day happy, healthy, wealthy. Happy, healthy, wealthy. Happy, healthy, wealthy. I wake up every day feeling good. Every day feeling good. Every day feeling good. Every day I'm feeling great, yeah. Every day I'm feeling good. Every day I'm feeling great, yeah. Every day I'm feeling good. Every day I'm feeling great, yeah. I wake up every day feeling good. 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 Everything is as it should be. Everything is as it should be. Everything is as it should be. Everything is as it should be.
Diva Ebony B, you're now tuned in live to Diva Spot Radio right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, Periscope Live, and also on all of my amazing Facebook pages. I'm so glad that you guys are here. We got Angie B in the building, and she is just breaking this thing all the way down. We got questions on questions. That song that you heard was called Manifestation. I wanted to put that out there. So to remind you guys, even though we all are going through changes in life, changes with the body, changes with kids, changes with your husband, changes with your hair, changes with the environment. Listen, speak positive to yourself. I wake up every day feeling good. I wake up every day feeling good. Everything as it should be. Everything is as it should be. I'm happy, healthy, wealthy. I'm happy, healthy, wealthy. The way that you speak to yourself, the universe is going to respond to you. The way that you speak to your body is going to respond to you. I had another comment from Annette Ramsey, and that said, it's hard one day when I wake up. I have pains for no reason. I'm hot like I'm on fire, and I'm cold like I'm in a freezer. And I know this is a form of menopause. We haven't got there yet, but I remember my first lady talking about her change in life. And every woman is going to go through a change in life. And she was saying how she almost lost her mind. Like she said, I wasn't myself. I was very testy. I was very angry and aggy and mean. And when we're going through different changes in life, and that it can be menopause, it can be, selling your house, you're at an older age, you no longer need all that space, or you had a fall, you can't move around, or it could be having a baby, postpartum depression. It can be losing a business or having to close a business, and you're like, man,
Yeah.
this is what I wanted to do. I don't want to go back to work for somebody. So my next question is, okay, we identified the issue, we know what's going on, we're well on our way, to handle our business. Did you need something? Okay, I'm in the middle of the show. But we're well on our way, we got things changing, we're moving through things in our lives. My son made me forget my question, God bless him. Get that question back. I'm going to get that question back.
You will.
There it is. Okay, we're going through the changes of life, and it's very. And I was going to get it back. It's very fearful, but my question is, how do I maintain healthy thoughts? How do I maintain positive thinking? How do I maintain progressing through life?
It's a good question. The first myth I want to bust, I guess, about positive thinking is that there's nothing wrong with not having positive thinking. You just want to make sure you're thinking more positive thoughts than negative ones.
Mm-hmm.
And when you notice the negative thoughts, or when you notice the thoughts that are not serving you anymore, notice them and let them pass. Because you don't want to fight against yourself. Because you want to acknowledge yourself. Again, all parts of you are welcome. And the way to maintain it is just to practice every day. And realistically, you're going to have days where you're not thinking positively, or you're not in that headspace. And the important thing is not to beat yourself up. Have your moment, have your day, get back on the horse and continue.
Have your moment, have your day, and get back on your horse and continue. This is not the way your story ends. No matter what it looks like. I had to tell myself that, like, in the midst of homelessness, and in the midst of living in a hotel, and in the midst of having a mental breakdown, I had to say to myself, hold on, Ebony, this is not how your story ends. And it wasn't.
And it's still continuing now. Look at you.
Look at God,
right?
How he just have his way with you. When you got to build up your faith. And that's the one thing that I definitely wanted to talk about, and I wanted to say is, your flesh man and your faith man is at war every day. You got to build up your flesh, your faith man, because your flesh man is going to tell you, oh, you're washed up. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can't run that business. Oh, you can't open that. Oh, you won't get married. Oh, you can't have kids. Oh, you will always be living check to check. You got to activate your star player, because what you say out your mouth, you're going to say, instead of asking yourself, oh my God, why my back hurting so much in the morning? Or why I can't seem to get consistent customers? Why don't you say to yourself, wow, I'm working on bettering my health, and I'm getting better at it every day. I'm so proud of myself for walking around the block. Or I'm the most best recruiter, or I'm the most best life coach there is. When you say out of your mouth, it's going to come back to you. And environment, that's my next question. As a life coach, what would you suggest for people who are healing from trauma and healing from change? What would you suggest their environment, what would their environment look like to have healthy change and to have longevity in their changing?
Well, we know that you are not able to heal in the same environment that is causing the trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you would be getting out of that environment. But sometimes, realistically, you are in the same environment that you're trying to heal in that has caused the trauma. So you have to be disciplined in your practices. You have to be disciplined in the moves that you make, because you can't always change your environment. But that
You're
would be
right.
the first thing to do is if you can help it, change your environment. Also, you can change your routines too.
Mm.
You can change your routines, to if you wake up every morning and you drink coffee, switch it up and have water one day. If you just wake up in the morning and you don't do anything, wake up one day and meditate. Do something to change your routine, because changing your routine would change your environment too. But you also have to change your internal environment as well as your external environment and what's going on the inside of you.
You're right. Changing your environment and your routine and habits. If you want to be a billionaire, you're gonna have to have billionaire habits, y'all. If you want to be a successful business owner, you're gonna have to have successful business owner habits. If you want to lose weight, you're gonna have the habits of people who are losing weight, and that means cutting off dead weight.
Exactly.
A lot of people, listen, when you're on your journey and you're healing from trauma, and when you can't take everybody with you, I'm sorry, people have an expiration date. People, places, and things have an expiration date in your life. And I think that's a lot of times where we can't move past our trauma is because we're still holding on. We're still waiting for that apology. We're still waiting on that. Why are you waiting? What are we waiting for? And I don't mean to sound harsh. I'm just very passionate about what I'm saying. It's just, I
Absolutely.
cannot wait on you to tell me that you're sorry. And I remember me being, for my son, I had to apologize to my son because I was very verbally and physically abusive to him growing up, thinking that this is the way that you discipline, and it's not. And I apologized to him and I said, you know what, mommy is going to be a better mom than you ever seen before. And it took me to go look myself in the mirror every morning and say, Ebony, I forgive you for this. I forgive you for being verbally abusive. I forgive you for being physically abusive. I forgive you for having poor money management. Now, was it pretty every day? Girl, no. I mean, I had the ugly face cry in the mirror. But one day I went back to that mirror and I didn't have anything to forgive myself for anymore. And that was doing the work. And that said, I want so many people on this blessing right now. What can I do to get this blessing to others? And that's what I wanted to ask you next. How do people get in contact with you, Angie B, life coach? How do they get in contact with you? How do they share to be a blessing? It is a holiday season, so you can give somebody the gift of healing and a life coach. This is a gift within their self now.
You can follow me. I have an Instagram now. You can follow me on Instagram at coaching_with_purpose, and then send me a friend request, and then follow me, and I'll follow you back.
And at the bottom of the page, scrolling, as you can see, it says calendar. I can't say it, Queen.
Calendly.
Thank you.
My Calendly.
Cool.
Yes.
Calendly.com/coach with a purpose. Calendly.com/coach with a purpose. You guys see it scrolling across the screen. Go ahead and click on it. Go ahead and book. Go ahead and follow her on Instagram. Make sure you're reaching out and make sure you are ready to do the work. If you are not ready to do the work, please don't waste this woman's time, because she didn't came on Diva Spot and y'all ain't going to come here and say, well, Diva, I know I didn't. Angie, it was so great having you on Diva Spot. I know 30 minutes passed by super fast, but I know that
it always passes by fast when we talk. I love our talk.
Our talk, we can go on for hours and hours, and we did, but I got to have you back for another session. We will do a part 2 of a follow-up of Wellness Wednesdays. This is a very important topic, and I want people to know that having a mental illness does not mean that you are isolated or excluded from the world. We are out here. We care about you. We have these same issues, and we want to help you. We want to hear from you. So, Angie, let them know what's your final words before we move on to the next song and go ahead and wrap up the show.
Just wanting everybody to have a safe holiday. I know holidays, speaking of, wellness, trauma are hard for people. So try to have the best holiday that you can, and remember that you are not your emotions and that somebody out here cares about you. Follow me, reach me. Have a good one.
Thank you, Angie, so much for coming on and talking and sharing your gifts.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you. Big shout out to everybody out there that's out there working to do the work, who's out there dealing with mental health issues and who's looking for a life coach. Let me say this from the bottom of my heart. Hear my heart. I am very proud of you. I encourage you. Just know that God is not going to bring you nowhere and leave you. You are right where you need to be, and you are on your way to where you need to be going. So you guys keep God first, family second, and career third. It's your time. We're going to go into it exclusively L, and I got to get out of here because I want to make sure my turkey don't burn. All right, y'all.
Just some heat, the competition kinda steep, but the crown I'll keep. Stay 100, still at 99. Got a point to prove, out to win, not lose. No more rummaging through these views and views. It's my time to shine. Game is to be sold and not to be told. Some of y'all running around feeling mighty bold. No more telling lies. You need to learn the business before you make big moves. Gotta make sure that your blue cheese is cool. No doubt I'm gon' get mine. Said I'm still in the limelight, just not in the streets. I heard that people wanna know what's going on with me. I'm here and I will survive. I'm up on my hustle, staying up on my grind, and headed to the top stays on my mind.